Kim, what is our third main topic today?
All right, this is coming from Tony Amondila. Good morning, John and team. A couple of weeks ago, a few toy images came out showing some of the new villains from Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Characters like Sleepwalker, Rintrah, and D'Spayre. I never heard of any of these, so I was wondering if you and Rob could explain a bit about them and how they tie into the rest of the MCU. Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yeah, so here's what happened. A little bit ago, some posts came out, probably a week, 2 weeks ago. We started to get some trickles coming out online about what could be villains that we're going to have coming up in Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. Now, these are all things that I believe are just going to be revealed in trailers at some point at any rate. But and as has become kind of a little bit of a tradition, it seems like toy lines have been revealing who and what these characters are. And so here's what happened. There's a toy company, I can't remember what it's called, something Greatest or whatever is this toy line. And they're putting out this full package of all these characters from Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Wrapped up within there are 3 characters in particular that probably the vast majority of moviegoers don't know, have never heard of, and have no idea what's going on. But those figures listed as coming out in Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness are as follows. The green Minotaur in the middle, Rintrah. Here's a little story on Rintrah. As much as I know about him, because I don't know much about D'Spayre and I don't know much about Sleepwalker. I know a little bit about Sleepwalker, but not much. Rintrah is actually a magical being, well, a character that has magical potential from another dimension. And he basically, at some point, he meets up with Doctor Strange in the comics. He helps him out a few times. He eventually goes back to him and asks to become Doctor Strange's apprentice. This is all in the comic books. So Rintrah at one point was actually an apprentice of Doctor Strange and helped him out to beat a few bad guys here and there and stuff like that. So it looks like, and he looks like he's wearing good guy clothes. That brown robe seems like the traditional sorcerer robes that we've seen, you know, up there at the compound that those guys have been wearing. But Rob, we got a couple of other these characters here in Sleepwalker and D'Spayre. What can you tell people about these characters? Hey guys, we want to take a second and thank the sponsor of this video, Stamps.com. Now, whether you are a small business owner, have a side hustle selling stuff online, maybe you just like to share things back and forth with your friends, good news, Stamps.com is going to help you out a lot. Because if you're anything like me, there are many times in my life that I didn't send something to a friend of mine or I didn't want to sell something online simply because I didn't want the hassle and expense of having to ship stuff out. And for those of us here at the John Campea Show, Stamps.com is going to be huge for us in 2022 because we've been doing more giveaways like shirts, you know, pops and other things, and we plan on doing a lot of that, and that's just wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for Stamps.com. And for people like us, Stamps.com is a godsend because it lets you print out official postage right from your computer so you can spend less time at the post office and more time running your business or sharing things with the people in your life. And Stamps.com doesn't just give you access to the US Postal Service, it also works with UPS now right from your computer. And you can get discounts that you cannot get anywhere else, like up to 40% off the United States Postal Service rates and 76% off UPS. So right now, head on over to Stamps.com and go up to that microphone up in the corner, click on that and enter the promo code Campea, that's C-A-M-P-E-A. This will give you a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, free postage, and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts required at all. And now, let's get back to the video.
Well, if I'm correct, there's a version of D'Spayre that was in the Cloak and Dagger TV series.
Oh, which I gave up on after a few episodes.
Cloak and there was a version of him, but D'Spayre in the comics, the Dweller in Darkness that's in Shang-Chi, that was behind the wall, created D'Spayre?
Yeah, I never knew that.
Created D'Spayre from the fear of the destruction of Lemuria and Atlantis. That's where D'Spayre was created from. So he's a bad dude. You know, and D'Spayre has fought Hulk, Spider-Man, the New Avengers. So D'Spayre has been around. And then Sleepwalker was introduced I have this miniseries, in this comic miniseries, like from the early 90s, and he would invade the dreams of people, or he would stop people or creatures that were trying to invade the dreams of people, and he has a human alter ego, and they're great. They're great.
So is he more of a good guy?
Yeah, more of a good guy than a villain.
So Rintrah and
D'Spayre is a
Sleepwalker
villain.
could be allies to Doctor Strange in this.
Could be allies. I mean, again, here's the thing. It's kind of like everyone saying, well, Mephisto's going to be in WandaVision. You know, they've introduced characters in these toy lines, like in the Marvel Legends toy line, that have been in the comics that are not necessarily big parts of the movies. They could be. But I think so far, you know, Dormammu in Doctor Strange was a great fantasy character, but not necessarily a huge part of the movie. You don't see Dormammu except in that realm.
I hear he likes to bargain.
He likes to bargain. And I just feel that these characters, both D'Spayre and Sleepwalker, are very fantasy-esque characters. Not that Doctor Strange isn't.
Well, so's Rintrah.
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, that's what I mean. But they're a little bit comic booky, and if it were more of a Ghost Rider kind of a movie, I'd say okay. In Doctor Strange, I'm sure they could show up, but we've already seen Mordo and we've seen Strange and Wanda, and I think one of the reasons that MCU works so well is a lot of the characters that we see, whether it's Loki or Odin, even the gods they're in some kind of a human form, so we can relate to them. These characters start pushing that, but you know, after seeing the Loki TV series, all bets are off. I could definitely imagine seeing these characters.
Now, it should be pointed out here that, I mean, we don't know for certain. I mean, it's possible Rintrah. I mean, that could have been Rintrah we saw in the trailer. As far as D'Spayre and Sleepwalker, we don't know. We're not hearing from the studio. It's just that the toy line of Doctor Strange, they actually even have a pack of the various characters in Doctor Strange, and these ones are included in that.
Absolutely.
It doesn't 100% mean that they're going to be in the movie, because we've seen a lot of times when toys that come out are reflective of what's in the movie, but we've seen a couple of examples. The one in particular I remember, before Justice League came out in theaters, there was a Justice League toy pack that came out that had Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Superman, Batman, Aquaman, and a Lex Luthor in the Lex. You remember that, Ray?
Yes, I did.
That toy?
I did remember that.
And it came with this Lex Luthor in the Lex Luthor comic book battle armor.
Yeah.
And like everyone's like, woo! But that's an example that sometimes these toy things can come out and they do not reflect what's going to be in the movies. A lot of times, most of the time, they do. So we'll see. But if you do find out that D'Spayre, Sleepwalker, these guys are going to be in there, now you know a little bit about them.
D'Spayre could tie into both Atlantis, meaning the Submariner,
right,
and Namor, and Shang-Chi.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of various ways that it could all connect.
Nice.
A lot of people in the chat are saying that Rintrah was in the trailer.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't remember.
I didn't know if that was him or not, but it could be. I mean, it's hard to imagine that it would.
Sure, it is.
There's a lot of different things here. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Number one, do you think these characters are actually even going to be in the movie? That's a big question right there. But they are attached to the toy set. If not, what do you think about these characters at all? Do you know much about them? Are you interested in seeing them? Are you kind of happy to see characters that maybe you don't recognize popping up? I still think Wanda's going to be the bad guy of the movie, but we'll find out for sure. Whatever you guys are thinking, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.